Do you know who this guy is? Yeah, I know. He has a type of face that you might allow to prescribe you medicine. But then, so did this guy, remember, so looks can be deceiving. And I think it's his formal look that helped him deceive so many. So this is Zachariah Sitchin, and to me, he's no different than this guy. Or this little word that rhymes with artsy. Or likewise with this grifter. So, with his books, Zachariah Sitchin, he managed to convince the world that the ancient Sumerians were in contact with a race of alien beings, the Anunnaki. So here I'm going to go through some of his claims, which is going to either prove he was just simply mistaken or just outright lying. And I might as well start with his translation of Anunnaki. Sitchin thought that Anunnaki translated as those who from heaven came, or those from heaven came to earth, or something like that. So I'm going to demonstrate to you that the language doesn't actually say that, and I'm also going to show you how you would say it in Sumerian. Seemingly unbeknownst to Sitchin, Anunnaki is not actually a Sumerian word. It's Akkadian. The Sumerians called them Anunna. And I'll break down the signs one by one for you. The first being the silent determinative for divine. A means semen or seed. Nun meaning princely or royal. And Na is the genitive case marker. When you write in syllabics, auslauts are common, and the Sumerians used them frequently. So the N in this sign is actually just the out sound or the auslaut of the previous sign Nun. It's the A that we're looking at for the genitive case. Just to confuse you even more, the genitive case meaning of or X of Y is actually the sound ak, but in this case, the K is getting dropped. Similarly to how we might say morning instead of morning. This will make more sense in a second, and we would interpret this to mean of royal seed or princely offspring. However, the Akkadians, they spelt it like this: Anunnakene. Anunnakene. And now you can see where we get Anunnaki from. So the translation of royal seed or princely offspring is still exactly the same. Only now a plural marker has been added to the end, which has brought back and rendered the K from the genitive case ak pronounceable, with ene being the enclitic plural. So essentially, we're just adding a plural marker. Where is the confusion? Well, frequently people ask questions like this, and I'm only going to deal with the first one because the second one, what on earth does that even mean? What do you mean the sky didn't exist? What? So, does Anunnaki really mean those who from the heavens came? If not, why? If Anu means sky and Ki means earth. So, no, we've already addressed that, but it's a valid question because this is a very diverse sign. It's polyvalent and multifunctional. You'll see it being used as a silent determinative, or an honorific if you want to call it that. And you'll see this written before every single god or goddess or divine entity. You'll also see it written before some very powerful kings, or even very powerful people of society, like demonstrated on this brick right here, which was a gift, a donation from a man named Hashmar Galshu for the restoration of the Ikor temple, and he's dedicated it to Enlil. So you can see his name here, Hashmar Galshu, and he must be someone of importance because he signed his name with the determinative for divine. And obviously Enlil here on this line will have a determinative for divine too. So it says, a gift of Hashmar Galshu, a stone brick for the Ikor, and then he dedicated it for Enlil, his king. So the sign can also be used as a logograph, representing a whole word, like God or divine, and yes, An can mean heaven or sky, but it does not mean that in Anunnaki, because it's Anun, not An-nun. And this sign here is clearly taking on its determinative function. In other contexts, it could be used as a syllable, like here in Anupta, meaning quarter, or in this sequence, Agantum, meaning skin disease. Or, like on this inscription, it's being used as a proper noun for the name of the high god of the Anunnaki, An or Anu. So the Dinger sign can be used in many different situations, but here it's being used as its silent determinative for the divine entity of the Anunnaki. So there's the first confusion, but the second confusion is the sound ke getting confused with the English spelling of ki, and that's because there is a sign in Sumerian with the phonetical value of ki. And yes, this sign can mean earth, but it can also mean place, ground, land, underworld, country, lower, down or below, or toward. This sign can also be used as a syllable to build longer words, or it can be used as a silent determinative for cities. But more importantly, you'll notice that this sign doesn't appear in the sequence anywhere. It's just that some people who don't really understand Sumerian grammar as well have got it confused with the sign Kefor. But even if Ki was at the end of this sequence here, it's not in the right place grammatically to mean those who from heaven came to Earth. But if you wanted to say this, it's going to be something a bit more like this. Now, there will be several ways you could write this because there's different ways to pluralize and stuff like that, but this is going to sound like Enene anta, Kishe aba inyan. Sounds a little bit different from Anunnaki. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it. So granted, I've used the third person independent pronoun here, Enene, which means they who from heaven came to earth rather than those, but I could also use the demonstrative suffix with the third person plural interrogative, which would sound like this. Antapikisha I nyen meyesh. Or if I just wanted to say those who from heaven came, then I'd just get rid of the to earth part, which is here, to make antabi inyan meyesh. Or enene anta abba inyan. And to be honest, if you wanted, you could take Abba and actually place it here instead, if you wanted. Abba means who, and you could place it before or after Anta, which means from heaven. Alright then, this video took so much longer than I expected to make. I've been editing for hours. So I'll do a part 2 sitchen debunking video, but bottom line is, don't trust Zachariah Sitchin.